Oh boy, what a shocker, right? Another ex-vegan has come out. Okay, so hi guys, welcome to my channel. And if you're new to this channel, welcome to Earth to Rosita, where the magic happens. No, not really. Where I talk about mainly like spiritual, kind of philosophical, kind of mysteries of the universe kind of topics. And I occasionally do astrology videos. So if you're into that kind of content, I would just like to ask you to please subscribe. There's also travel vlogs coming up, as well as vegan content, vegan activism, vegan food, that sort of thing. It's just that I can't travel right now because of COVID-19. But in today's video, I don't really know what direction I'm gonna take, because I'm not really familiar with all of these ex-vegans. You know, I don't really like follow many vegan YouTubers. Like, I don't follow the food YouTubers or the health YouTubers. I don't really feel like I need any guidance in that way. I'm just kind of like a normal person who just so happens to be vegan. Shocker, right? So I suppose I wanted to kind of like tackle this issue in kind of like not a unique way, because I'm probably going to say everything else that all of these other quote-unquote militant YouTubers have said. I don't agree with like being an anti-vegan. I don't believe that you can be anti-vegan, because it's not a philosophy that you can just leave behind. Wait, did I say anti-vegan or ex-vegan? Sorry, I meant ex-vegan. I don't believe you can leave behind the vegan philosophy. So the reason why I have this perspective is because veganism is not a diet. It is a philosophy. It's a mindset. And I think I wanted to like address these ex-vegans, or respond to these ex-vegans coming out in that way, in a more like educational way. Why are, you know, vegan activists so annoyed, so angry? Why do vegan activists make these response videos that people get angry about? I'll tell you why. And there's no way that I can really like say this without sounding like I'm coming from a place of higher superiority. Can't say that word. I'm already not higher superiority just because I can't speak. Or kind of like, I don't want to sound condescending, so I would just ask you guys to maybe try to open your minds and not get triggered by how I am going to explain. It's simply because when vegans see you know, like these YouTubers that have large audiences coming out and saying that they're no longer vegan, it frustrates the activists, and it frustrates the people like myself who are kind of like, I mean, I'm not saying that like YouTubers are not normal people, but they're normal people with a lot of people watching them. But smaller channels like myself, we understand what the vegan movement is fighting for, and it's frustrating because the ex-vegans who come out, first of all, nobody like really does any research on the person's history, and second of all, we don't actually even know what they were eating. But I think the bigger picture, the bigger reason why it really like frustrates us when people come out as ex-vegan or I'm no longer vegan videos is because it confirms the bias of anti-vegans, or it scares away people who are interested in becoming vegan. And the bigger problem is that they weren't even being true to what the vegan philosophy is about. It is about animals primarily. It is about reducing harm as much as possible and practicable. And when you're advocating for something so important on every level, and when I say on every level, I'm talking about, we're not talking about like, just a couple of animals get killed. We're talking about like trillions of animals, all kinds of animals getting sentenced to their death just because we want to eat their flesh, just because we want to take the milk of the mother that is meant to go to the baby that we steal away from them, just because we want the eggs of the chicken, and the environmental reasons. But I think that the main focus should always be about the animals. And the reason why I think that is because when you're considering another being's life, literally another sentient being's life, no matter whether you know the animal or not, whether you have a connection to animals, whether you don't really care about animals, it's still important to value the life of another sentient being over something as trivial as your taste buds. And I understand that it is scary to, step outside of comfort zone and delve into a diet that is relatively new with new science, but confirmed science nonetheless, because science has confirmed that you can thrive and survive on a vegan diet. Like, I understand that it's scary to step outside of your comfort zone for that reason. You're going to, there's like negative stigma around vegans. There's doctors who still have a bit of catching up to do in terms of vegan diets, but they are still respectful. I've gone to doctors before and they've been respectful toward my vegan diet. But the reason why, the primary reason why somebody should go vegan is for the animals, is because when you're thinking of like another sentient being, I feel like I just repeated myself, so I'll just say this quickly. When you think of another sentient being, that holds like higher weight, and I think that it's important for human beings to connect these dots. I think it's important for us to like make that connection, because when you're considering, and when you allow yourself to use empathy, you're gonna want to fight harder for, like if you feel like you're failing at the vegan diet. Because I'll be honest with you, I struggled on a vegan diet, particularly with iron. Everything else was fine. My B12 was perfect. My iron, not iron, my Vitamin D, I had a bit of a deficiency, but that's because I don't go out in the sun too much. But iron, I've always struggled, vegan or not, and I just decided to take tablets at the end of the day. And a lot of the times, I've come to find that these ex-vegans, when they come out, or when you read through the comments of the ex-vegan who came out, it's always, you know, the same sort of comment. You know, we've been eating meat for thousands of years, so why not just continue? We've been, like, it's not a healthy diet, even though, like, I know for a fact that vegan diets can be unhealthy. I've delved into the unhealthy side of vegan diets as well. And instead of saying the thing that a lot of vegans tend to say about, in regard to, like, we've been eating meat for thousands of years, why stop now? The argument against we've been eating meat for thousands of years that vegan activists typically make is, well, we've been raping and we've been murdering for thousands of years, so why should we stop? But what I think that they miss mentioning is, yes, we've been eating meat for thousands of years, so why are we finding it so difficult to evolve past our meat eating days when we literally are not in a survival situation? Most of us are not in a survival situation. If you have a phone and you're watching this and you have internet, you're definitely not in a survival situation. We're not in, like, our hunter-gatherer days anymore, guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're definitely not in our hunter-gatherer days anymore. We are not we're just not living like we did, like, thousands and thousands of years ago. We have evolved. We have technology that connects us to people all over the world. We take shit in the toilet. We microwave our meals after we go to the store and buy microwavable meals. Everything is so fast now. Everything is handed to us. We don't have to hunt, and we've never really needed cow's milk. As far as I know, cow's milk and goat's milk, cow's breast milk is relatively new. We don't do anything we did thousands of years ago. I dye my hair fucking blue with chemicals that are very bad for the hair, and we drive in cars, and everything has changed. So what is so difficult about changing our diet? Why are we so attached to this ancestral diet? Maybe you should explore that yourself. But I've been vegetarian, vegan, I've been in this lifestyle for like 5 to 6 years now. I've lost count because I've been having fun the whole time. Not the whole time, I did struggle that 1 year. But I'm going to leave you a few things to think about. Why you're so attached to your animal flesh-eating days. Advertisements. Social pressure. The social norm, cultural norm. Maybe that flesh, aka meat, eating urge that you have is not actually because you're protein deficient. It's just because it's what you're used to, and we're creatures of habit. You know, if you were raised on a certain thing, I think it was Dr. Michael Clapper that actually made this point. If you were raised on a certain diet, you know, like that's what you're gonna crave until you know, like start a new diet and start a new habit. Anecdote, since you guys love anecdote, there's vegan twins, Nina and Randa. They have been vegan since they were born, and they never felt like they needed meat. And that's because they grew up on vegan food. So, one anecdote, what does that say? And since you guys love picking on the way us vegans look and saying that, you know, we look sickly and we're deteriorating every day, there are literal channels. There's a channel, I think, called Vegan Deterioration or something. There's actually these ridiculous channels that literally dedicate their life to tearing vegans down. Okay, whatever. So since you guys want someone to look up to that looks good, try Nina and Randa. They've been vegan since birth and they are glowing. And no, they don't have vegan like cheat days where they eat anything from animals. And I'm gonna take it a bit like a step further and say that I traveled a little bit around and I've met a lot of people along the way. And I know because you haven't seen them on YouTube, they do exist though. There are people that were born vegetarian or vegan or close to like half plant-based diets around the world. I know, shocker, right? And when I met them, they didn't look bad. They didn't look sick. They just looked like normal people. And I have friends who are raising their babies vegan, and they're completely normal. It's like you wouldn't even guess if they didn't bring it up. I know, it's a shock. It's a shock, isn't it? And I know I kind of sound smug, kind of sarcastic, passive-aggressive, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating because there is so much science supporting the plant-based diets. There is so much science about the environmental impacts of a non-vegan diet. There is so much information out there about the animal cruelty, not just like in our food industry, but that's what I mean when I say veganism is a philosophy. It extends out not just to cows, pigs, chickens, goats, kangaroos, tigers in some places of the world, cockroaches in some places of the world, like insects in some places of the world. It extends out to other animals. It's all. It extends out to even the hidden animals like bears, not kangaroos, giraffes, lions, raccoons, mouses, squirrels, monkeys. There are more, like rabbits. We exploit animals in a multitude of ways. Elephants, did you guys hear about the Kerala elephant murder? We exploit animals in a multitude of ways, and that is what the vegan philosophy is aiming to change in the world. It is asking humans to respect other sentient life, guys. Rhinos, animals that you don't even think about because you're so privileged. You're so far away from it. But just because you're so far away from it and you're not exposing yourself like us vegan activists are every day It doesn't mean it's not happening. Do you guys, like, this isn't based off of emotion. There are, every single species on the planet suffers for us, for humans, because of one species. Even me, the vegan, even I cause harm just by existing. I acknowledge this, but I wish we can change it. Veganism has never been about perfection. It's been about striving to make a difference. It's been about striving to do as much as you possibly and practically can. So when you have options, especially since you're watching this, you most likely have options to eat a whole foods, plant-based diet. Not mock meats, because mock meats have, even if they're healthier, they have health consequences as well. Whole foods, plant-based diets are the healthiest. Keep it simple. Shop cruelty-free in all products. Make yourself conscious of these things. Make yourself understand. You don't have to put the life of other sentient beings above your own, but you can at least make the effort to, search for answers if you are in trouble health-wise. Supplement if you need to. It's not a taboo thing. Supplements are not made for vegans. If you're iron deficient, take a supplement. If you're vitamin D deficient, take a supplement. Vegan supplement, of course. If you're B12 deficient, take a supplement. Take a multivitamin. If you're struggling, seek out help. Don't be afraid. If you can't, there's so much, even on Facebook right now, you can get so much support. Even if that means you have to educate yourself. Buy the books that have the information, Go to a nutritionist if you have to. If you have children, again, buy books or go on Facebook groups with people that can guide you. Or I recommend more nutritionists because that's an actual expert. But that's the health side covered. But the main vegan philosophy is to just try to reduce harm. And that is why us vegans get frustrated when someone comes out as an ex-vegan, because they weren't following what the philosophy actually was. The philosophy is not a philosophy of health. It's not a philosophy of anything but the animals and making an attempt at liberating them. And honestly, if you've noticed a pattern of these ex-vegans, from what I've heard, I don't know if this is actually true, but from what I've heard, they were following kind of unhealthy, medically unsound, nutritionally unsound diets, and that is why they failed. They promote their stuff for a cash grab. So that is why, in my YouTube, I made a video about YouTubers are brainwashing us as well. It's like the news. And it's a shame because as soon as money gets involved in something, people kind of lose their moral compass. And we've seen this time and time again, with billionaires and capitalists and news people, and like corrupt systems like the US military, when we have some sort of higher authority or higher power, humans tend to fall into an egotistical sense of self, and they feel like they can do anything and get away with anything. And they do. So, yeah, that's the world we live in, and that's what is so agitating about ex-vegans and anti-vegans, is because they're kind of like the same evil. One is just like, one is Joe Biden, one is Trump. One's just a lesser evil. One pretends to want peace, but they're not really about it, and one is just flat out, like, not peaceful at all, says a lot of shit, and so on and so forth. So like this video, if you guys, actually, I've been thinking about making a video on how brainwashing works and how to look out for it. So if you wanted to see a video on that, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. And I hope that you guys are having a lovely day or night. Bye, guys!